Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second podcast organized by MCC, which is the Mass Communication Club in the year 2022. This will be the second and final episode of this semester, which is the January semester. And this is your host, Thomas, from Foo in the Loo, where Foo, which is me, sits on the loo and talking to you about my thoughts on any topic. And yes, I'm actually sitting on the toilet now, and no, I'm not defecating or urinating at any point of this whole podcast. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, basically my past experience. So let's get straight into it. So for those who don't know me, I'm Thomas, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm actually not originally a Indian. So how do I explain this to you? I once studied abroad. So where did I study? I studied in China, and you might be a little bit surprised by the course that I'm studying right now and the course that I'm studying previously. So previously I was studying culinary, which is, if you don't know, culinary means cooking. And now I'm studying mass communication, which is journalism, PR, copywriting, video editors, directors, those kind of stuff. So it's totally unrelatable. So why? Why did I change courses and why did I came to INTI? I'm just gonna give a little background story for me. So previously I did study in China, and I studied in a small place called Guangxi, and the place where I studied is called Guangxi Vocational and Technical College. So this place, it's actually quite interesting. It's a small place that's basically the state that is nearest to Malaysia. And why did I study there? Because first of all, I'm interested in cooking, and I couldn't find any suitable culinary schools in Malaysia. It's not that they're not great, but for my financial background, I couldn't quite afford it at that time. So I decided to go for China. And of course, they had scholarships that covered my whole fees for the year. We paid by year, so the fee system was like this. I had to pay 6,000 RMB, which is renminbi, the Chinese yuan. So I have to pay 6,000 Chinese yuan for a year. Like 1 year, there's 2 semesters, and you have to pay like 6,000 Chinese yuan for the whole year. And if you get good results for international students, I'm not sure if they actually have such privilege for local students, but as an international student myself, I have the privilege to get the scholarship that was like, if I get a good enough result that reaches their criteria, I get complete refund of the fees that I'm paying. Like, bro, that's a steal. So of course I did get the scholarships every year. And why did I change from studying in China and now studying in INTI International University? The reason why is the pandemic, of course. It's not something that's unpredictable for anyone, because like if you track back in time, I'm required to study culinary for 3 years in that place, and I've started my study in 2018, 1 year right after I graduated from high school. So I started from 2018, and pandemic hit by, if I'm not mistaken, like 2019. Am I right? It's either 2019 or 2020. 2020. COVID-19 was found in 2019, but eventually it was announced to worldwide in 2020, around January or February. Because I remember at that time, I was required to go back to China to study my last semester in China and I didn't make it because of pandemic. Everything is everyone and every place is having lockdown and nobody can go anywhere. So that was basically how I changed from studying abroad to studying local. And I'm actually like suffering quite a lot from this pandemic because I can't study my last semester and get my 1-year internship done in China due to the pandemic because I'm studying culinary. And for culinary, you need practical. Zoom calls are basically useless because Zoom calls, if you're studying culinary from Zoom calls, you're basically looking at YouTube videos and learning from them. And the most that you get is interactions. But at most times I don't get that because the line is not great because you're calling from 2 different countries and it's a very big hassle for you to do that. But would I be missing China? Of course, because let's just put it this way. As an intern in China, your monthly income is basically nearly as much as the minimum wage of a normal high school graduate, a fresh graduate in Malaysia. That's the intern monthly income that you're getting in China that you don't get in Malaysia because Malaysia only provides like what? Minimum I see 100 and the maximum being like what? 1,000 for internships per month. It's not that much because it's, if you're a person like me, I live in Ipoh, and if I'm going for my interns in KL, Penang, Johor, I have to look for rents, and those amount of money are not going to pay me rent, and definitely it's not going to support my daily expenses plus the meals that I'm having. So that's probably the biggest difference that you can actually have from my 2 different interns in 2 different countries. But I can't blame them because like who would predict the pandemic would hit the world? Nobody. So I can't actually say anything but to just live on. It's actually quite fascinating in China, I would say, because I've participated in several competitions, which is English based, of course, because I myself am quite proud of my English, and of course my proudness did not lose me anything because I did won like first place in public speaking for my school, of course, not for the state, but for the state wise, I did manage to represent the school, the college, and actually went into state competition. But eventually I did not got first place, of course, because everyone is like pros, plus I would say they have a slight advantage because some of the questions are not, I would say that the questions are not fully English based. Like there's translation questions, which I don't know because I'm bad at Chinese, which you might ask the question like, why are you studying in China when your Chinese is bad? I actually don't know. I would say that I'm trying to improve my Chinese, but at the same time, because I realized that if you know English in China, I've actually had the opportunity to teach one of the lecturer's son English for I think like 2 to 3 months. I think it's 2 months, and I've earned money from there. Like I forgot how much I've earned, but I did earn some pocket money for myself, and that's only because I know English. So basically knowing English and going to China is actually a market for you. So basically that's it for my grandmother-grandfather story, and thank you all for listening, but please hold your horses. Before we wrap things up, I'll just play you a quick song and take a rest. I present to you Alive by INTI.
I wanna feel alive, feel the blood inside my veins. I wanna slow the time, will you slow it down with me? I think I need to find what it means to be okay. It's broken by design, can't live life without some pain, yeah. And I know I'll keep running, no, I'll be something you won't see me coming. I throw, I keep punching, I grow, I keep hunting. No, I need nothing, supposed to be something so close to me. Jumping down in the worst kind of way. You took all of my time and didn't give it back to me. Wasn't enough, and I don't know what to say. You wanna fall in love, but don't wanna feel the pain. And I'm so low, cause I don't know if I'm alone, if I'm unknown. But I won't go, no I won't go. You ain't never gonna slow me down, cause I feel alive now. Think I'm gonna go insane. Always on the grind, but still everything's the same. I'm sick of wasting time, wish I didn't feel this way. But with this kind of mind, I will figure out my lane, yeah. It's the highs and the lows, the change and the woes. All the fame on the coast and the pain no one knows. I want the time just to slow, my mind's feeling low. Say I'm fine, but I know that I might be alone. In the worst kind of way. You took all of my time and didn't give it back to me. Wasn't enough, and I don't know what to say. You wanna fall in love, but don't wanna feel the pain. And I'm so low, cause I don't know if I'm alone, if I'm unknown. But I won't go, no I won't go. You ain't never gonna slow me down, cause I feel alive now.
So that was Alive by INTI, and we're coming to an end of our sessions. I thank you all very much for supporting our podcast, especially my podcast, MCC. It has been a wonderful time. I really enjoyed myself doing this, although I have a little bit anxious, talking, but hopefully I'll get used to it and I'll bring more wonderful contents to you guys. So thank you all for tuning in for this podcast, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye and have a good day.